We are saying there is a certain likeness of God to some of his created effects so that we can understand him through those.
Yes, I
But
agree.
okay, so then you're disagreeing with the statement that
simplicity.
yeah, so then you're
If you know the divine
disagreeing.
simplicity, it's God. You can't even say God exists. You can't even.
You don't know what you're talking about. Why would you lie? Why would you lie? And you don't want to
Because I'm
understand
going to let the Sheikh come in.
Sheikh,
You
come in.
said,
He's
you
not
said,
arguing.
if God said to me that I am physical, you would disbelieve in him.
If that's indexed to his divine essence, well, then of course.
If God said that to you, I am physical, would you believe him?
It's indexed to his divine
No,
essence.
no. If God, listen, let me. No, stop. If God told you, I am physical, would you believe him?
If it's indexed to his divine essence, no.
No, so what? God doesn't say anything.
I'm sorry,
God
but
says-
you don't understand words
Look,
and you don't
God,
understand more and so
God,
on. There is no nuance.
God
What
simply
is God?
says
What's
to you.
God? What is God? What is
God
God?
simply
What is
says
God?
to you.
What is God? What is God? What is God?
Careful.
What is God?
Let me explain.
Answer the question. What is
Let
God?
me explain.
What is God?
The one who's worthy of
What
worship.
is God?
The one who's worthy of worship.
And metaphysically, what is God?
He's asking you what
I
the
am not
being of
making a
God.
distinction between.
That's the problem.
Listen,
Thank you.
listen.
Thank
I
you.
didn't even finish my word.
Finally get
I
that.
didn't
You
even
don't
finish my
understand
sentence.
anything about
I didn't.
metaphysics.
You
I'm
know
not
what?
making a distinction.
You worship
between-
metaphysics. You don't worship
I don't
God.
worship metaphysics.
Okay, let me demonstrate that to you.
Is the
Let me
method by which I
demonstrate
understand
that
reality.
to you then.
And if you deny
Let me
metaphysics,
demonstrate that to you.
You're not able to have
Okay,
conversations.
let me tell you
I'm
what.
sorry.
I asked you, if God said, I am physical, would you believe in him? You said no. You said that. It's on tape.
I
You
said
said no.
index to his divine
No.
essence.
Before that,
What does that mean?
hang on.
What is index to his divine
If
essence?
God said,
Tell me what that means.
okay, let me,
You don't
let me,
know? That's probably why
let
you
me
keep
rephrase
responding,
my
'cause you're
question.
not understanding when I say
Can I rephrase my,
index to
can
the
I
divine
rephrase my
essence.
question?
Allah has a divine
If God,
essence. Is Allah's
if-
divine essence
if-
composite?
if God
Is Allah
said-
composite, Mansur?
let me
Are the
rephrase my,
parts that are contained within
let
Allah,
me
are they
rephrase
parts?
my
Are
question.
they not the whole of Allah?
That's not a good argument.
Let
You
me
don't want to answer some
rephrase.
perfect arguments.
Let me
Really good
rephrase my question. If God said, I have
Getting tired of this.
literally two eyes, two physical eyes with which I see. If God said that to you, would you accept him?
I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to answer your question.
Would
don't know
you
what you're talking about.
accept
If it's, I'm gonna
if
answer your
God
question.
said,
I'm gonna
I
answer your
have
question. I'm
two
gonna answer your
literal
question.
eyes with
Two
which I
literal
see?
eyes. If what you mean by two literal eyes,
That's what God said.
hold on a
Imagine
sec-
God said that.
hold on a
Wait,
second.
Mansur,
If
stop with the
what you
sophistry, let him
mean by
speak.
two, yes, you don't know what you're talking about. If what you mean by, because words have meanings, words have significations. Don't interrupt me. I know you're very itching. If what you mean by two literal eyes is indexed to his divine essence, then no, because that's a straight contradiction. But when God does say things like this, for example, I have eyes, my back, so on and so forth, we understand this through an analogical predication. I keep saying these words. It
you
may sound like
misunderstood my question.
gibberish. I may sound like gibberish.
You
to
misunderstood my
I
question.
understood your question perfectly. You don't understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
What is when I say analogical predication? What does that mean? What does that
No,
mean
no,
when I
no,
say
no.
that?
Okay.
What do you think
Ask
I'm
it,
saying?
ask
Do you think I'm saying gibberish, or do you think I'm saying something intelligent?
Gibberish.
It's gibberish. Tell me what it means. If it's
No,
gibberish.
no, no.
It's gibberish. Tell me. I'm a bum. What is analogical predication?
Go on.
Don't say things if you don't know what you're talking about. Come on, man. You don't know what you're speaking about. Okay, go on.
Since God
I'll come back to
is,
you, let the Sheikh speak.
since God is unseen to us, we're not allowed to describe him and to go further than what he explained or described himself to us. That is a very important rule.
Let me
That's his
respond to that.
principle. We don't have
Yeah,
to accept.
let me
Okay.
respond to this.
We have an ayah in the Quran, it says, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. There is nothing that resembles him. Okay? We believe that there will be in paradise honey, fruits, etc., etc. But the names are the same, but the facts differ from the fruits and the honey in this life here. So likewise is Allah the Almighty. He is existed. He is the exister.
Check the camera.
Okay?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree to that.
And he described himself in the Quran that he has two hands. Sorry, he said to Iblis, to the devil, "Oh devil, Shaitan, why didn't you bow down to the one I created by my two hands?" That's in the Quran, Surah Sad. So the ayah is there,
Let me respond.
and we
to
believe
this.
that Allah He has two hands, and we don't say that the hands are power only. No, two hands, but we do not.
You say
argue
Allahu
about
Alam?
how those two hands are. We're not allowed.
Okay, can I respond to that?
Please.
Okay, so when you say that Allah has two hands, and then when someone asks you, what do you mean by that? And you say something like, Allahu Alam, Bila Kayf, we don't go into the meaningness of it. What
We
you've
know the
essentially...
meaning
Wait,
when it comes to
can
our
can I
hands.
respond?
Okay.
Yeah, what you've essentially done is you've made the term hand a non-cognitive statement. It just means that the term hand now has no meaning at all, because you can replace that term hand with any other word and it's going to mean the same thing.
Okay.
Because you
I'll
don't
answer
go
that.
into
I'll
how and what it means.
Okay.
Now, furthermore, earlier on in your statement, you said that Allah is absolutely unlike anything, correct? You said that?
Yes.
Okay, so if Allah is absolutely unlike creation, our understandings are created, right? But when we read the Quran, we see God's attributes in there. We see God is Ar-Rahman, God is Ar-Rahim in there. But when we perceive that into our intellect, what we understand is a created thing. And therefore, God cannot be anything like how we understand his attributes, which means that you can't understand anything about God because he has no resemblance even to how you understand his attributes. Even the word one, you understand the word one, right? Oneness in your mind is a created concept, yet you say Allah is one. If Allah is absolutely unlike any created thing and you have a created conception of one, when you say Allah is one, he's nothing like that. So whenever you say Allah is something, he's absolutely unlike what you say he is. That's the
Why do you
two big
falsify
philosophical
it?
problems
Listen,
of your
listen,
position.
Don't go deep. Don't go deeply with this. No,
You have to. That's how reasoning works.
Welcome. It's if you want to go deeply with it, that's for you. For you.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The problem is that if we don't go deep enough, we're going to end up making problems like
No,
this.
no.
And I don't want
Whenever you go deeply with Allah's nature, talking about Him, you may fall in mistakes, right or not?
Well, you can, but we can correct ourselves and we can go back to scripture.
So you
and we can properly.
So you agree with me that if you keep detailing about Allah without
I'm not going to disagree that there are going to be some people that are going to have misconceptions about the nature of God, but those misconceptions can be fixed. And if
Yeah.
we appeal to the
Listen to
scripture, we can fix those
there is
misconceptions.
sort of
And
similarity.
philosophy
Let-
is the
let-
tool that we use. I'm going to let you finish, sorry. But the philosophy is the tool that we use to understand it.
There's difference between identical and similarity. Okay, I'll give you an example. God told us that He is Rahman,
Yes.
and we have the mercy that make us understanding about Allah's mercies. He did not only tell us about mercy without having something that explained the meaning of mercy. Okay.
That's an,
Yeah.
He's actually. You're actually understanding something, Mansur.
Let me tell you something. For example, if I say to you the lion is
Right.
here, and you don't know the attributes of the lion, you're gonna say, "Welcome, let him come." If you don't know the attributes of the
But
lion,
Sheikh, here's the problem that we're trying to point out, right? What you're appealing to is actually what we went to earlier, right? We are saying there is a certain likeness of God to some of his created effects so that we can understand him through
Yes,
those.
yes, I
But
agree.
okay, so then you're disagreeing with the
They believe in
statement
divine
that
simplicity.
yeah, so then you're
If you know the divine
disagreeing.
simplicity is God. You can't even say God exists. You can't even.
You don't know what you're talking about. Why would you lie? Why would you lie? Why would you lie?
just
Let me explain to you.
No, but you're
In divine simplicity,
Let
do
them
you
Allah
believe God
say.
has different attributes?
No, we believe that all of God's attributes are identical.
Exactly.
When we say
they
God,
don't make a distinction
wait,
between hearing or
virtually
seeing.
distinct.
yeah, they're virtually distinct. The same way that you
What I'm saying-
understand
what I'm
colours that go
saying-
through
what
a
I'm
prism
saying
as
is,
virtually distinct.
You have made
thank
God.
you for
It's been good discussing with you. You've been a very good person to discuss with, brother. You've been very good.
thank you, my dear.
So,
Have a good day. Thank you.
You're a very nice guy.
to your point that we were discussing before, when we talk about divine simplicity and understanding text, the text has clues. You said the clue was mine, and instead of saying my means God is describing about himself, how do you understand God? The Sheikh said very clearly, you take what God said about himself
Let
and
me
don't you
answer this
go any beyond that. Instead of taking God, what he says about himself, you go and say, no, I would not accept God even if he said that. Like the example I gave you.
Okay.
If God said, I have two literal eyes that I see with, if that was in the scripture, you'd say, oh, God doesn't have literal eyes. He cannot have, because it's divinely simple, because it's metaphysical. So is there any way, if I were to ask you now, is there any way God can write in his scripture given to his prophets, which is actually non-metaphysical, literal meaning of himself? Can he do that about himself?
Okay, so
Quickly
yeah.
reply to that statement about
Can he do that?
non-metaphysical. That doesn't make
Okay,
sense.
okay, yeah. There's no such thing as non-metaphysical, right? Because whenever you refer to something in reality, you're referring to something which exists, which means it has an ontology, which means that you're actually appealing into metaphysics, even in the arguments that you're making right now, right?
You understand it?
So
Carry on. Let's let you interrupt. Carry on.
every single statement that we make about God is going to be metaphysical. Now, we say that
Carry on.
God is so beyond creation that there is only a likeness in which we can make to his attributes through our reasoning. But we can't say that God is absolutely like what we predicate of him, right? Because you would agree God isn't in a genus. God can't be multiplied like a universal would, right? So what we say is that when we talk about God and we say things about him, everything we're saying about God is used through analogical predication. Now, when we say something like God has a body, that's equivocal predication, right? God doesn't literally have a body, right? And the presupposition
You got that from where?
because you're working through a presupposition that we have to appeal to the scripture alone. We don't believe in that. That's the whole point that we've been trying to
So
make
even
to you
if the
this whole
scripture
time.
says God has a body, your principle
If the
your
scripture-
principle is even if God said I have hands and feet
Yeah.
and fingers and ears and face,
Yeah.
like the Bible describes,
Yes.
you are saying I'm going to take this what it means in its literal sense. So your default position is
Okay.
Your default position is all of these needs to be understood in a metaphorical way.
Yes. Do you know why?
Wait. That's your default position. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. The reason
Is this
why.
how it was understood by the recipients of the revelation?
Yes.
At
Okay.
each
Wait.
stage.
Let me explain.
At each stage.
Okay.
Whenever
Wait.
Prophet messengers came,
Mansur.
no, I want to just make to affirm. You just say yes or no.
Well, no, because
time
it's
a
more
prophet and a
nuanced than
messenger
yes or
came
no.
to a nation, even to Israelites, you're saying the recipients, they all, by default position, understood that this was metaphorical.
Okay, no one is making the
So, yes.
statement. Wait. It requires more nuance than yes or no. No one is making the statement that everyone that heard these words or had it passed down to them understood it in a specific way or not. What we are saying is that what is both consistent with the text and philosophy should be the interpretation that is taken. Now, if the text was to contradict what we are saying, then obviously
Speak a little bit
we don't say God is a Bunsen burner, because God can't be a consuming fire and someone with fingers that sits on a throne that has a bum and does all this. That's not what it means. It's just an equivocal
Does God have a
usage,
throne?
right? Yes, God has
that
a throne.
metaphorical?
Okay. The way that we understand that is that when you see God on his throne, what you are seeing
I'm asking
is
about the throne, not about God.
what you're seeing is the effects of God's act in creation. But you're not seeing the literal divine essence in creation.
I didn't ask you about God. Is the throne metaphorical or literal?
The throne is a literal thing because you see what you're seeing is the effects
so
of
let's
God.
understand that. God has a throne which is literal.
Yes.
Yeah? In the day of judgment, would there be in the day of judgment,
Yep.
when the world come to an end, God has a throne.
Yes.
God is sitting on the throne and someone on his right hand side.
Yes.
As the Bible describes.
Yes.
The throne is literal.
Okay. So here's how we understand.
Is the throne literal?
Okay, it's more nuanced than that, okay? So when you actually read the passage, it says that God is on his throne and the Lamb of God is on his right-hand side. We don't understand that to mean that God has a physical bum
I'm not talking
sitting
about
on a
God.
physical
You
throne.
keep missing my point.
Yeah, I know
I'm
you're
talking
saying
about
is the throne physical, but I'm elucidating the point further to you so we can understand the
Talk about the
entirety. Yeah, because God is on the throne. So in order to understand the throne, we have to understand God who sits on it, right?
No,
Yeah?
I want to know, is the throne
Okay.
literal?
Yeah, the throne is literal, but God sitting on the throne, that is what we would call the effects of God's act. What you're seeing isn't
Explain
God's...
to me what it means. I
Okay.
don't understand what you mean by God sitting on the throne.
Okay, so for example, creation, right? Everything here is an effect of God's act of creation, right? Now, God can make effects through his act. When we're in heaven, what we're going to see is instead of seeing the divine essence of God, we're going to see the effects of his act in motion, which resembles movement. Which is why we say that we are seeing God. His spiritual presence is there on the throne in that his effects of his act are there.
Can you see
However, no, you can't see the divine essence of God.
I'm talking God. Can you see God?
You can't see God's divine essence.
I'm not seeing what essence or anything. I'm simply asking you a
Yeah,
question.
it's more nuanced than that.
Can you see God in
Yeah,
heaven?
you can't see God's divine essence. You can see the effects of his act. It's more
God,
nuanced than that.
is God existent?
Yes,
God exists.
yes.
But I think most Irish people don't.
Is God seeable in heaven?
God's effects are seeable in heaven. God's essence is
I'm not
not,
talking about God's effects.
because it's more nuanced than
I'm talking
that.
about directly about
Yeah,
God.
yeah. Okay, when we're talking
Can you
directly,
see God in
okay,
heaven?
okay, Mansur, when we're talking directly about God, we're talking about the essence of God, right?
I'm talking about God as He is.
Okay, Mansur, it's more.
God as He is.
Yeah, but Mansur, you understand
God
that.
have a form?
Wait, Mansur, you understand it's more nuanced than that, though, right? Because we
I
can
know your
understand the
metaphysical
statement
jargons.
in many
You're trying to
in
explain.
many ways.
Maybe I don't.
Wait,
Maybe I don't.
Mansur,
Okay,
if
maybe
you
I don't.
understood,
Does
okay,
God have a form?
okay, Mansur,
Does God have a form?
God has an
is
immaterial
form? God
form.
is form.
God is identical to form.
What do you mean by that?
Form just refers to essence.
What do you
God
mean
is
by essence?
identical
Don't be
to his
tautological.
essence.
You said essence and form. What do you mean by form and what do you mean by essence?
Okay. Essence refers to a thing which exists, right? And when we
What is a
understand,
thing?
okay, for example, that tree over there is a thing. That
No,
tree
what
has.
is a-
Wait, I'm
Okay, you
giving you
explain.
I'm
Thing,
giving you an
okay.
example. Okay, that tree over there is a thing,
Why
and
is
so
that a
is
thing?
that tree.
Hang on,
But
why
what
is that a
these
Because it
thing?
has
two,
an act of existence
Yeah.
in
No,
reality.
why is that a thing?
It has an act of
it's a
existence.
thing because
Why is that a thing?
it's a thing because it
exists, that's why
exists.
it's a
No,
thing.
no, no. We talked about existence.
Mansur.
Why is that a thing that exists?
Mansur, we're going off topic
What
to the
is
throne
of
now.
that thing? What is in
Mansur,
that
you're
thing
trying to
that
take it off
exists?
topic to the throne. You're trying to take it off topic to the throne.
No, I want to know whether you
are.
know what God is. So
Yes.
you talk about God as something that doesn't exist in
do that
reality.
potency? Should I do that
Okay,
potency?
do that quote.
Okay, look. This is how we understand the world. We are basically.
Are you talking about God or the
We're
world?
talking about God, and then we're gonna go. So
No, talk about the God.
Yes. God is a part. God created the world, right? So reality exists, and it's a particular view called hylomorphism, which basically everything is form and matter. That's it. So everything has a form, and then it has a material that the matter conforms to.
Explain to me what you mean by form.
Okay, so form is going to be what we call the principle of intelligibility. It's going to be the particular genus, at least, for example, in created things. And then the material.
This
is going to-
mic, does it have a form?
It has
Yes.
a form.
What do you mean by form?
The form, okay, the form is going to be, for example, the shape, right? The quality, the essence of the thing. And then the material is going to be literally the plastic or the, I don't know, this whatever the sphere is or whatever. right?
Okay.
Now, in all
So I understood your definitions of form.
Hold on, just to give you a bit more things. Every created item has what we call act and potency. Now, I'll tell you this. Potency is to act, right? As accidents are to form. So everything has a form, and they have accidents that flow from the form. Okay? That's how we understand the world. That's how we understand reality. The point is that God now has no potency. Therefore, he has no material.
What do you mean by potency again?
Potency is, for example, the possibility for something to be actualized, right? So, for example, I'll give you a really easy example. If I have a kettle, okay, and the kettle is not on the stove, the kettle is actually cold, but potentially hot. When I take the kettle and I put it on the stove has the potency in the stove has been moved from potential to actuality. In the kettle now, it's actually hot and now potentially cold. All created things have this.
And you said God doesn't have potentiality.
God has no potentiality. Why?
potentiality.
Because he has no matter. Which
No what?
No matter, no material. God has no material.
What does God have?
God.
Not what doesn't he have.
Well,
What does he have?
When we speak about
God is-
when we speak about God possessing things, we have to be very clear and very nuanced in what we're
You
talking about.
said he doesn't have X, Y, and Z. But what does he have?
Hold on a second. When we speak about God possessing things, we have to be
I didn't
very-
say possess.
Having something is to possess something.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. Let's carry on. When we speak about these things, we have to be very nuanced.
Does
okay?
God possess anything?
If you want me to answer your question,
I'm clarifying that question to me. Does God possess anything?
God does possess things. But when we talk about God possessing things, we mean it in a very specific way. God doesn't possess it in a created sense. For example, I possess hands.
No,
right?
before God created
Hold on a
anything,
second.
does he possess
you
anything?
don't want to listen to my
No,
answer.
I'm making it simple for you.
No, I'm making it simple for you,
Before
'cause you don't
God
understand
created,
this. It's
no,
very
I'm making it
complex.
simple for
I'm
you.
making it simple for you.
Before
Stop.
God created
Stop.
anything,
Stop.
does God possess anything?
Of course, but I'm trying to.
What does he
explain-
possess?
You've asked me this question 4 times. I've tried to respond.
How many times have I asked you a question?
Like about 3 or 4 times.
No.
You haven't?
You keep-
How many times?
you keep-
You tell me. How many times?
I asked you this
Oh, so you
point.
can't tell me either. So let's get back to
I'm
the
just
point.
telling you.
Okay, so stop.
I
So when we
asked
talk
you,
about
I
God
asked you and
possess-
repeated my question
When
again.
we talk about
That's
God
twice.
possessing things, we have to make a distinction between the way in which we possess things and the way in which God possesses things.
Yeah, what does he
remember?
possess?
Remember, under the doctrine of divine simplicity, everything that's predicated to God is God. So God doesn't have it in a creative way. It's not composed in God. It's not some property that exists like some bundle theories. What we talk about when God possesses things, we're talking about things that are within God's essence itself. But He is identical to those things. So, for example, God is love. We didn't say God has love.
What is love?
God is love.
What is love?
What is love?
Love.
What is love?
Love is a reciprocal thing. Love is a, in a sense.
God is
No, what is love?
love is God's
Love-
will for the good.
Perfect. That's a perfect.
Does God have will?
God is will itself.
Sorry.
We have
Oh,
to
stop.
understand.
Slow
anything
down.
that-
Slow
I will slow
down. You're just jumping.
I'm not jumping. I'm not jumping.
God
I'm being
is
very
will.
simple. God, look,
Yes.
anything we predicate to God is God. The reason why this is true is that if we do not say this, hold on. If we do not say this, then we will be holding an alternative position, which is what we call divine complexity. It would be to say that all of the things that God has are parts in God, that they are composed in God.
And that's why the Sunni position of Allah having distinct attributes is.
Concept of parts.
You don't know what you're talking about.
No, you don't know.
Please,
That's
I'm
why I'm
talking
saying
to
you were earlier talking
Stop,
about time.
stop.
No, sorry about that.
Stop.
You were
I'm not
having,
talking to you. I'm not
earlier
talking
we
to
were
you.
having a
Please,
discussion
I don't
with
want to
Brother
speak to you.
Subu.
I think I remember you.
No, you
I'm
do
on-
not know.
I think I remember you, but I don't want to
know
speak.
time.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know
you-
time.
You are
What's the
talking
time
about.
is it?
No.
Yo, let him finish.
No.
What's the A and B for your time?
Let me say.
Stop. I'm
I
talking
have
to
said
him
that
about
it is not
possession.
necessary. You have not said that. Let me say why it is not
we're gonna do
necessary.
this again.
Because
We're
you
gonna
are
do this
projecting your concept towards God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
so
do you mean?
How are you? No. Let me say, Harvind, you are projecting your concept of indivisibility, visibility, and division,
Let's go to predication.
divisibility and
Let's go to
indivisibility.
predication.
Yeah. Sorry,
So when
sorry.
we predicate
no,
things to God,
you
how do you
cannot.
predicate?
No, you are.
When we
this
talk
is
about
material
predications-
thing. No, these concepts are coming